The first year I did it.
No, this is Fly Cool Collective in the red helmets and the white jerseys. That's a team you've got to be very wary of today.
Yeah, definitely. There's Ryan Gibbons, ex-SA champ. He's been African champ, multiple Grand Tour rider. So he knows where to sit, what to do, what moves to follow, what moves not to follow. And this is another dangerous ride. He's also quite a breakaway specialist. Is Casper Kirjev.
Yeah. He does this so often, doesn't he? He's in a small team, the ACDC team, with Josh Reeders and Kevin Scholes. But he's a perennial front rider and attacker.
And he knows how to pace himself, how to ride. You can see, I mean, he initiated that attack and then immediately slows down, gets into his rhythm and sort of taps it out until somebody hopefully jumps across, and then they'll start collaborating to open up a bit of a gap.
So just to illustrate the route, yes, they're going to head along through Newlands, past the Newlands Forest on the right-hand side. They'll drop down to Paradise Motors, then Edinburgh Drive, the first sort of bit of a challenge, which will sort a few riders out, but shouldn't be a problem. And then a long drag down towards Muizenberg, flat and fast, good rhythm, and then through Simonstown, and then it sort of starts getting serious when you get to Smitsvinkel.
Smitsvinkel, I would say, is the first pressure point. It's going to be the first real test for these guys. It's going to be where they're going to string out the field. And again, even for the elite main riders, 109 kilometers, it's not that long, so they have to try all of their cards quite early on in the race to make sure that when they get to Suikerbosse, they're only stuck with the final select crew. Otherwise, it comes down to a big bunch sprint, and it's a gamble.
Yeah, they go past the Cape Point Nature Reserve. Quite often there'll be a break up the road there, and then through a halfway point, depending on what the wind's doing down there, of course. Scarborough, Misty Cliffs, and then the mines will start focusing on those two final challenges, Chappies and the Suikerbosse.
Yeah, and there obviously the wind also plays a massive role going up those climbs. If it's a bit of a tailwind, that's obviously, it counts in the favor of the climbers, because then they'll climb extremely fast, and the sprinters will have a tough time getting some slip and saving some energy up the climb. So it all depends on the tactics, but they'll need to look at the wind, and that's going to influence how that two climbs plays out as well.
Casper here just looking like he's on a coffee shop ride, looking very, very comfortable, such a good position on the bike, but they haven't closed the gap back to him.
Yeah, he's not encouraged anyone to come with him. The team massing at the front of the bunch, the RH77, they've got Sasha Weber. Johnny Hugeland, a 42-year-old former World Tour rider, comes out. He does it. He's done this tour before. He's done the Old Mutual Wealth Double Century as well. They've got a lot of a big team. René Hasselbacher, who's the sort of owner of the team at the age of 48, is a senior man, and his son as well. So there's a big lineup for them here. The under-17 still absolutely hammering each other here.
They're just going full out all the way until someone blows, and then they go again.
It's wonderful to see the next generation of racers. Perhaps did you race in under-17?
I never raced cycle to under 17. I think, then we weren't allowed to, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
I don't think they had a specific
the category. Yeah,
the under 17 category came along quite recently, which is fantastic to see, because this is where the riders actually showcase what they're capable of, and it's where the current elite teams look for talent in the youngsters.
Well, they've managed to get a bit of a bunch up front here. Riders trying to fight their way back and get in onto this group. But now, no more. Not for now, anyway. A little shake of the head. And then, as you said, this is a sort of little bit of a truce now, and then we'll have another go.
Exactly. But already quite a small group for this early on in the race in the under-17s category.
Well, they're keeping a really good tempo, and those early attacks have thinned the big bunch out. And the South African champion on the front here, looks like. No, perhaps not. could be Zander Vulcan. Just trying to catch a glimpse of his race number.
They're very happy to sit behind him at the moment and let him do the work, trying to save as much energy for when they hit Smitswinkel, when they'll start attacking again.
Yeah, great excitement for these young men to bring the racing in their own category, which is something very special. Not getting involved in all the big racing now to the women's race. And Enza
Cycle Nation.
Cycle Nation out there. Good
Putting
team, good lineup, eh?
Very good lineup. Lisa Bone, main rider for the day, but we also have Melissa Kritzinger in there, who will work very hard for them. And I said to Hobby earlier, the amazing thing about the Cycle Nation team having so many riders is that they all bury themselves for the other riders. And that's something you don't find very often. And you will see that any one of these riders would ride their hearts out for any other riders, but definitely the main rider for today would be Lisa Bone. She's been in incredible form, second at SA Champs, and I would want to say almost on the podium at most of the races that she enters.
Yeah, second at the fast one. She was second at the Cedar, the gravel race as well,
yes,
earlier this year. So, yeah, real contender.
And you also have Frances Janssen van Rensburg, the mountain biker, in there making a comeback after having a baby.
And a two-time South African road race champion as well. Frances Swanepoel now.
Oh, Swanepoel.
Yes.
Still, you need to get used to all the
Yes.
new names, but also, and it looks like she is with a Chinola rider.
Yes, Chinola have a strong lineup here as well, the women's team.
Yeah, Lucy Young, Sonika Kloppe, Lizanne Lowe, Tennille Otto.
And yeah, we've mentioned those solo, well, we haven't actually. The likes of Vera Lawson has podiumed at these events before, an Olympic road racer in Paris in 2024. Hugely experienced, very skilled rider. Hayley Preen, desperate to win this home race, has been on the podium a number of times, has yet to win it. Candice Lill, of course, Tyler Jacobs, we've spoken about, Tiffany Keep, all riding solo in this race, as we now flick over back to the men's race. RH77 and RDX, Realty Dynamics, heading up Edinburgh Drive, the first of the day's real challenges. And for RH77, quite make out the number on the back there, but they've got a little bit of a break here, but nothing too serious. The peloton just keeping them all in check.
And this Edinburgh climb, it's such a weird climb because it's a hard climb, but it's not a decisive climb. So it strings out the bunch, and you can obviously feel the climb, but it doesn't make a real big impact in terms of thinning out the bunch.
Well, the climb, according to the Strava segment, is 1.72 kilometers, 5.5%, rising 94 meters, and the comp belongs to a chap called HB Krier.
I wonder who that is.
3:14 in October 2021. We seem to think that was the year they had the tour in October that year.
Yeah, correct.
So
yeah.
you set the pace up here.
Oh,
You can't remember, but you must have.
yeah. Normally,
Yeah.
when stuff like that happens and you get a Strava com and it was such a pressure point, you know, it's you almost go through trauma. You want to forget those segments.
The pain of it, yes.
Gerald, a rider that we haven't mentioned that I just see there on the inside is Luke Moyer. Was very decisive in last year's Cape
Yes.
Town Cycle Tour, made a lot of moves, made it very hard up Chapman's Peak, Mondricker Racing this year. And I'm thinking that he's also going to want to make the racing aggressive today.
He's a real talent. Cross-country racer of the highest order. Had an extraordinary start to his first year on the mountain bike World Cup scene last year, racing his boots off in Brazil, those first couple of rounds there, as a privateer and mixing it. And at one stage at the front of the race, I think in round 2 in Brazil. And he's a real talent.
Definitely. Just came off a big training block also in Spain, where he did some races there. Also managed to land up on the podium. And Dan Loebscher,
I was
also
about to say,
freewheel
Dan
psychology,
Loebscher, yeah.
sitting in the front.
Had a good year already this year. Dan Loebscher's been racing the gravel series events, and here we go. Bit of a move off the front.
And it's Dan Loebscher that we just spoke about.
Yep.
He loves attacking.
Yeah, absolutely. He loves to go, and every one of these riders in the Cape, they know the roads, they know where to go, and they know what to do. But this man, Dan Loebscher, he does kilometers around Cape Town, and he's decided to have a go here. Flat and fast as they've crested the top of the climb, and now all the way along that Blue Route highway. Just has a look and assess what the damage. What would he be looking for there, RBM?
He would be looking to get a small gap, hopefully a couple of companions, 3 or 4 riders coming with that he can share the load with, so he's not dangling out in front on his own.
He's got about 200 riders coming with him.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
I think a couple too much.
Yeah, a few too many. Magnificent, isn't it? The mountain behind starting to lighten up in this beautiful, beautiful conditions for the 48th edition of the Cape Town Cycle Tour.
Also just being able to ride on this Blue Route for one day, the full road closure, everyone's coming out to support the Cape Town Cycle Tour. 30-odd thousand people doing a sport that we all love, and it's just such a magical day.
Yeah, an event that started as a protest ride for road safety. Well, never has that been more vital and important and in focus than it is in this modern era now. And thoughts with those who've had tragedy strike on the bike over the last year. This ride will be significant for those and family members. Now we look at the front of this race, RDX, RH77 and Fly Cool Collective. Some of the main protagonist teams starting to be there. Nothing yet from the blue of ASAP, who's Tyler Lange's team.
Yeah, which is not a bad thing. I mean, as long as they're present in the moves that slip up the road. The idea is for a key rider here, like someone like Tyler Lange, who's the ex-winner and a favorite, to hide as much as possible, stay out of the wind, conserve, stay out of trouble, avoid any mechanical issues, avoid crashes.
Back with our women's race, and at the moment all together, just biding their time, waiting to see if there's a move, and there is a move. Enza, Cycle Nation, go again. Chinola look as though they're following.
And that puts quite a pressure on the lone riders. I think you have to decide very quickly if you're going to go with a move or if you're going to leave it. But for riders like Hayley Preen, Vera Lossa, this adds Tiffany Keep. This puts quite a lot of pressure on them to go with every single move. But at the same time, they can't let anyone go, because anyone from the Cycle Nation and the Chinolo team can actually run away with it.
Yeah, you've got to have your wits about you in these races when there are limited number of teams, but then those you know that they'll be working as a team. And Chinola have Tennille Otto, Zan Lowe, Sonica Klopper, Lucy Young, and I think that's Tanya Bugarin who's tucked in at the back here.
And I want to say it's Rachel Seaman.
Seaman on the front. I think you're right. It is Rachel Seaman, yes. She's an under 23. Tanya goes to the front. Maybe they're going to work together here. Right-hand side, and our men's race starting to take a little bit of shape. 6, 7, 8 riders, I think, in that little break, just a look over the shoulder. Not totally all in, just a look over the shoulders. Crown Cycles have got a rider in there, RH77.
And this can be dangerous sometimes, Gerald, because, I mean, this is a move with a rider from a lot of the strong teams.
Yeah.
And there's an ASAP rider there, so, you know, Tyler will be sitting in the bunch smiling.
Absolutely.
That's Chloe Bishop on the front, trying to close the gap. Mountain biker, also quite new on the cycling scene, but also doing very, very well in the mountain biking, getting ready for the Absa Cape Epic. next week, and she's chasing down these two riders.
You are going through, so there's a bit of work being done here. Intent from Cianolo and from Cycle Nation Enza and Cycle Nation, who are, I mean, these are the two predominant teams in this event.
It is, and I think for them it's an ideal situation to get a rider away. Like I said, it puts a lot of pressure on the other riders, the lone riders, but it also protects their race favourites like a Lisa Bone and a Lucy Young, and it takes the pressure off them this early on in the race. Customised cycling also in there with 4 or 5 riders, and they missed out on this move, so I'm quite curious to see if they'll get up to the front and kind of initiate the pace.
Oh, it's so good to see such a big bunch here. So to our men's race now, and this is the break heading on that blue route, and
it's Cole Bontes on the front.
Bontes, yeah, experienced rider, isn't he?
Well, he's a multiple SA champ on the track, so he knows how to ride. And there's quite a familiar face there in the blue jersey, white shorts. It's also a previous winner of the Cape Town Cycle Tour, Herman Fischer.
Herman Fischer, I was going to say, yeah. Yeah. JP Lloyd is in there, the big figure from RH77 is in this breakaway. There's Herman Fischer, number 34.
And Dan Loebscher from Fugle.
Dan Loebscher's there, that's him on the front. So they've certainly got riders in here. Also in this bunch, Keenan Rudd from Fly Cool Collective in the red helmet. And Bontes for Crown Cycle. So yeah, it's an intriguing mix, this RH77. And they have designs on this race win for perhaps Sasha Weber.
Oh, yeah, they've got such a, I mean, we spoke about Johnny Hugeland earlier on. You know, he's done a couple of Grand Tours as well, the Tour de France. I don't know if you remember that iconic crash he had with hitting the fence on
when
one
the
day.
cars hit them, yeah.
Correct,
He ripped his shorts up, yeah. Well, beautiful sights from our helicopter, which is taken to the air, heading out towards Muizenberg. It'll pick up those riders as it tracks along Baden-Powell Drive and along the False Bay coastline, with Table Mountain just coming into the light there. Beautiful sight it is. Spectacular morning here for the Cape Town Cycle Tour. And then there are those who just take out every second Sunday of March and sit and watch the riders come past for hours on end down along that False Bay coastline. The coffee shops, breakfast stops, everyone getting involved. And that's one of the beauties of the Cape Town Cycle Tour. The city just embraces it, and there's such a wonderful vibe, the atmosphere around the route, all the riders.
And interestingly, Gerald, that's also how we got to the Carol Boyce Trophy, because Carol used to watch her husband coming past year after year on the Cape Town Cycle Tour, and got approached by Dave Bellez to design that beautiful trophy. And she brought together art, heritage, culture, everything all into one. And at the end of the day, the winner is going to lift that absolutely gorgeous trophy.
Where do you put them in your house? You've got 5 of them.
I do, and I absolutely love it. And I said the other day, when I walk past the Carol Boyce shop, like every time, I just actually remember the different victories and what went into it, and how the race played out. So it's so much more than actually just the trophy. It's this memory of the special sacrifices that went into it, family coming together, supporting you, being there with you. And all of these riders have the aspiration to take the trophy home today.
Absolutely, no question about it. So Dan Loebscher on the front here, and JP Lloyd behind him. Then Herman Fischer. The red helmet is Keenan Rudd of Fly Cool Collective. Carl Bontes, and right at the back of this is Weinert Hofmeyr from ASAP. And yeah, ASAP have got the defending champion, and Fly Cool have got the man who wants this, Ryan Gibbons. So key riders in here for the overall. Sasha Weber's RH77's man, Mark Pritson, riding for Honeycomb. There's a man, well, he's the only one in this field who's got a career Triple Crown. He's won all three of the big sort of city races, Amashovo, Ride Joburg, and the Cape Town Cycle Tour. Bontes has got a problem.
And they seem to be working very well together for the moment. And that's what you want. You want to establish as big a possible gap between the main bunch. And right at the moment, it seems to be a good cohesion.
Bontes hands up. He wants his team car up.
Seems like he's got a bit of a punch or mechanical or something, and that's always a sad sign when you put so much effort into getting to the break and something like that happens.
And having a team car coming past that big bunch is unfortunately going to have to wait for the main bunch. The gap isn't big enough to have team cars in between quite yet.
Well, heading towards Westlake, and this Cape Town are rising and waking up on this beautiful, beautiful second Sunday of March. It has for 48 years been the time which this wonderful event takes place. Crown Cycles, they've gone off the M5 and down onto towards the coastal road and heading towards Muizenberg. They're at Westlake at the moment. Dan Loebscher drilling it on the frontier as he does so often. He spent a lot of his December riding with Matt Beers, training with Matt Beers here in the Western Cape. So he's got the power, he's got the legs. Talk about power, JP Lloyd.
I mean, I would say almost a Kalani champion. He
Yeah.
loves a Kalani race. Very, very impressive sprinter, and just all-round powerhouse. At the Specialized, we have the Taco Tuesday loops that we do with JP, and when he goes on the front, everyone's hanging on for life and death.
Well, they are hanging on behind now because he is a powerhouse.
Quite a substantial gap now to the main bunch.
They're not used to, no.
No, rider in second place almost looks like a rider from one of the UCI countries, possibly, if I'm not mistaken.
In the front, yeah, no, that's Weinert Hofmeyr from ASAP in the blue. Loebscher behind him, of course. Carl Bontes is no longer with us. He had a mechanical issue. This is
And this is now the time, Hobby, where you have to decide you're either going to commit or you have to sit up, but you can't go in half-heartedly at this moment.
No, especially not for these guys. I mean, they've already been away now for about 5 or so kilometers, and I think if they keep pushing, this break will get well established, and that would allow them to climb up Smitswinkel in their own pace, which is going to JP Lloyd, Herman Fischer, and even for Weinert. I mean, not needing to ride as fast as the climbers go while they're attacking up there helps a lot.
Now we go to our women's race on the left-hand side, and the two riders here, Enza and Chanolo, are doing the Work Cycle Nation in there. And I think we've got Marzan Millet on the front there for Enza, Cycle Nation.
And she won the time trial at SA Champs for the junior women, I want to say, for the junior women. A last-minute entry. Might be wrong, it might have been under 23, but last-minute entry, and she actually managed to go away with a win in the time trial.
Yeah, she's a youngster. Marzan Millet from Enza, just 19. She was second at Ride for Sight, so she's in some form, which is what you want to be coming into this race. And they are heading up Smitswinkel now, and strings out the group. And this is a key moment in the women's race.
Yeah, there we see a attack on the left.
Yeah.
By one of the Enza riders.
Yeah, they really are making it hard, aren't they, Enza Cycle Nation?
I want to say that's Lisa Bone going off the front right.
It will be.
Yes. Looks
Yeah.
like the riding style of Lisa Bone, and this is a big move, Gerald. This is
Yes.
a very, very dangerous move.
Key moment in the women's race, with Smitswinkel being perhaps a decisive moment. Looking over her shoulder, seeing the effect of one of the Chinola riders is coming across. These are the two major teams in this. The solo riders will be watching this carefully. They know the danger of having these riders up the road, particularly Lisa Bone.
Definitely, like I said, she has been riding so strong for the last few events, and you can't let her go away. She's also improved dramatically in her sprints, so she's not even a rider that you can say can't sprint anymore. She can climb well, she can sprint well, and she really is a good all-rounder. And especially partnered up with a Chinola rider, if these two riders work together, the individual riders are going to have to jump on it very quick.
I'm taking a flyer. Lucy Young maybe for Chinola.
Almost looks like Tennille Otto.
Tennille Otto, okay. Tennille Otto, who's had some experience racing in Europe. When she went third at the fast one, so also experience.
And I want to say she's
rider.
the female version of a Dan Laubscher. She loves
Okay.
attacking. She loves being animated in a race. Always one of the big hitters when it comes to making the racing. And she will be working with Lisa Bone.
Strong rider, Maddie LaRue in this team. As I said, Lucy Young, Lisanne Lowe, Sonica Klopper, that's all in that Chinola team. Now, what about this for a sight? A helicopter up in the air. Schalk doing a great job in bringing us images of the riders as they flow in towards Muizenberg and then along that False Bay coastline on a truly spectacular morning in the Western Cape. Could not have wished for anything better at the moment. Everything going very, very well indeed for these riders. Now, we look. We're trying to look up the road, further up the road, to see where that break is, and I think I can see a flashing light here, there, where they're zooming in, and that is where the break is of those 6 riders up the road. How significant is that break at that gap at the moment, Arbia?
It's not too significant at the moment, but you know, if obviously these guys, they shouldn't stop. That's a big thing, because normally it takes a bunch of while to sort of get organized, teams figuring out who's in the break, and you know, for teams to get to the front and then, you know, start pulling it back. So it's not too significant at the moment, but if they keep going, you know, it might grow into something substantial.
And I think we should touch on who will be making the racing at the back, who will be trying to close this gap, because from the looks of it, most of the big teams are actually present in that break.
Definitely. I mean, Ryan has a teammate in the race, or in the break. Mark has a teammate of Herman Fouché in the break. Tyler has a teammate in ASAP. So, you know, it's going to be a little bit of confusion to sort of get something organized to bring it back.
A little dash up the road here. Bernard Hofmer, JP Lloyd, and the 3 behind just having to stay in touch. A little acceleration now through towards Cork Bay.
And this is obviously something you don't want in the breakaway. You know, when they start playing funny little games, if the break and the gap is not at 1 minute yet, you know, it's not a good sign. So if I were them, I would sort of keep that.
So that's Dane Apples.
Dane Apples
in the break.
Okay, so that's the rider we were trying to identify. Good commitment from this break.
And what we got told while racing is a good gap is more or less 2 minutes. Once you get to 2 minutes, then you can have a little bit of a breather, reassess where you are, how far still.
Wynand waving for some of his fans.
JP Lloyd all in just behind him. Herman Fouché, very, very experienced. And Laubscher, good. The sun is up. on a beautiful morning in the Western Cape, isn't it? It's just stunning. That's where you want to be. Very, very special. Not necessarily in racing at this level and this speed, take it all in, but we're fortunate to be able to provide you with these images as they flow through St James now. They go a little flick of the elbow from Fischer. Loubser takes it on. Sitting at the coffee shops and the breakfast spots along through Cork Bay. We'll get a first look at the Cape Town Cycle Tour at the sharp end now and cheer and applaud them through.
That RH77 kit is really standing out. You can't miss it.
Very distinctive. Cool, very, very cool shot as they fly through Cork Bay. Fishing boats moored at the moment. Cork Bay Harbour.
And these type of roads also, you know, it counts in the favour of the breakaway with being 6 guys in front, because the bunch swifting through that narrow roads, some traffic furniture, manholes, you know, you need to be very attentive if you're sitting in the bunch, which can sometimes get quite stressful as well, especially if you in the middle of the pack and you can't really see where you're going, so you need to sort of trust the wheel that's in front of you.
So an interesting dynamic. We've got some of the key teams represented in here. ASAP, RH77, Honeycomb in there. You've also got the likes of Loubser and Apples, the individuals. But for the moment, they're riding as a team, doing as much work as they can. As here comes the main peloton, waves from those who are recognizing or know there's someone out there as they fly through. What a sight.
Just quickly looking at that bunch, I think Toyota and Buka would be one of the teams under pressure. 3 riders in there. Obviously, we mentioned Jaden Tolo that would really want to see this come down to a sprint, to have the opportunity to go for the win, and obviously having no one in that break.
Yeah, and it's quite interesting to see Ace up in the front of this leading peloton. They can either be doing 1 or 2 things or 1 or 2 situations. They might not know Wynand is in the break, number 1, or number 2, they might be slowing the pace down a little bit to works in favour of the break to help them increase their gap.
Yeah, I mean, just to emphasise that if you are a regular race viewer of cycle races overseas, you'll know that they have race radio and they have communication with the cars behind. That's not the case here. So, yeah, the point you make is valid. Sometimes riders further back might not know who's gone up the road. So it's not inconceivable. RH77 have got a massive riders behind a couple of ASAP riders up the road here. Just starting to stretch out now, flowing out towards Fishhook. Along the railway line, which is up and operational. Wonderful to see the trains flowing. We haven't seen one yet this morning. Into Fishhook, the lead group goes with Dan Loubser drilling it on the front. Wynand Hofmeyer on his wheel. Dane Appels. And then JP Lloyd, Herman Fischer, and Keenan Ruud. Clean road behind them for the time being, and Loubser wants to keep it going.
They're putting in a lot of work here for this early in the race, and I think it could definitely count in their favour getting up to Smithwinkle, like Robbie said, easing off the pressure a little bit up the climb, and then they can just hammer it on the flats again.
Yeah. Absolutely windless at the moment. Those palm trees in the background, absolutely still. So that's a good sign. He's a big man, JP Lloyd, isn't he?
He is, and like I mentioned, the power that he can push for even up the hills for that size, it's very impressive. And this small breakaway, he's a danger. He definitely is a danger. And also, Hobia, Herman Fischer has had some spectacular race wins also. Definitely one of the best sprinters that South Africa has ever produced.
Yeah, no, he's got the experience. I think he won Amashova when he was a junior as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
He's won Ride Joburg in the day.
Ride Joburg, Cycle Tour.
Yeah, so he's won them all, yeah. He's another with the career Triple Crown. And look at that RH77. They've got all the riders in there.
Quite a big contingent as well.
Yeah, big team. Sasha Weber, Johnny Hugeland, Carlo Engelbrecht, Janko Low, Cameron Wright, Paul Rettenbacher, Rene and Rene Hasselbacher, father and son, and JP Lloyd up the road. ASAP on the front here. Tyler Langer is their key man. Wynand Hofmeyer in the break. Willem Versace and Kobus Maria, two young men. Wilco Stradum, JB Rakapo, who's an experienced rider. Daniel Williams King. There, that is the 7-rider lineup for ASAP. Beautiful sight as our break gets to work, or continues to work on the frontier.
And Flyke will be interesting to see how much they participate in this collaboration on front, because obviously they have Ryan Gibbons, who is the race favourites in the peloton. So if they would be a driving force or this, or in this move, or just sitting at the back and seeing what happens.
It's been, when you mentioned that, Keenan Root has not done much on the front in this race. Kent Main, Ryan Gibbons, Ron Deploy, Keenan Root, Warren Mullman, Bjorn Nieuwhout, and Jared Hay. That's a strong combination there.
That's a very strong
Very
team.
strong, yeah. So, yeah, you'd probably not want to commit all in here. And just conserve and make sure that they don't get too far up the road, as Harvey has suggested. And you've alluded to JP Lloyd's danger if this one goes. Real danger. But here is... Oh, what a sight. When you ride, you don't see this when you're out there, but it is just stunningly beautiful.
It really is, and I actually can't remember much about the scenery from racing. But being able to see the footage now and even the imagery afterwards that comes up, it's absolutely beautiful.
And it's also the experience of racing on roads. It's got full road closure, Gerald. I mean, as a cyclist, you know, it's one of the big things you can ask for in an event. And I mean, it's to race on these roads with full road closure, man, it's a
real privilege, isn't it?
Awesome.
Yeah. It's been apparent from that break that Dan Loebscher and Dane Appels are the two sort of main protagonists. They're trying to make this work. They've solo riders. They're like, we've got, this is our chance to try and make it happen. There's Loebscher on the front again. Wynand Hofmeyer tucked in behind. They must know now, perhaps, that they've got to ride up the road ASAP.
Yeah, and then in the background, Gerald, I don't know if you can see that the grass looks like they're moving a little bit now, so there might be some gust going or some wind going up Smitswinkel as well.
Yeah, you can definitely see some gutter riding going on there, and that will play a big factor also in the main bunch.
Now, women's race on the flats, having gone up Smitswinkel, and a little, well, not to say a little bunch, but a bunch of riders up the road, and there's some significant figures in this. Hayley Preen is in there, Kate Courtney's in there as well.
Tyler
Jacobs is in there. So this is getting serious for the women's race. Kate Courtney.
Candice Lill
in there.
So it looks like all the main players in there.
Yep, that's it. Managed to get away. There's Vera now, and then Tiffany Keep. Well, over the years we've seen Tiffany do this at the cycle tour so often. She loves to attack. Hayley Preen now, the Continental champion, that Continental Champions jersey.
Like Hobby mentioned, you can see every now and then the wheels just twisting off to the side. Definitely a little bit of winds going on there. They're moving very, very close to the edge of the road.
So, see if there are any other teams here at the back there. Tyler Jacobs, the South African champion, you can see there. And flick through and just make sure the other riders we've got in this this group. Michaela Surtees right at the back there, 531.
Passing some of the under 17 riders.
Yeah.
Hobby, the mountain bikers have a very distinctive image from the body, the position that they sit on the bike. It's kind of almost like a block where you can really see the road specialists. They're able to get down, get aero a little bit more than the mountain bikers.
Yeah, I think, Cherise, that's where, obviously on the road, aero is everything, but on a mountain bike, aero is not everything.
Well, it's a wonderful opportunity for Tyler Jacobs, who won the South African Championships in Midvaal not too long ago, to show off those the stripes, the champion stripes, because she won't have too many chances later in the year. She heads off to race World Cup cross country, and like Candice Lill, Kate Courtney's changed her course this year a little bit. Not sure how much cross country she'll be doing. But yeah, for Tyler Jacobs, what an opportunity to show off the champion's jersey and her skills on the road.
Definitely, and I mean, as I said earlier, we were all surprised by her sprint at the SA Champs, but she's also a bronze medalist on the short track at the Under-23 World Champs. So it shouldn't surprise us that she's got a lot of explosive power, because she's proven it time and time again in the short course.
Absolutely, yeah. You don't want to take her to the end of the race.
Oh, Maddie Leroux also in there for Chenolo Cycling, also a very good rider. She's had a great stint in Europe for 2 years with the Canyon team, and back now with Chenolo Cycling.
Yeah, and one who's also been there and thereabouts in the big races. She won the combined provincial championships per country earlier this year, over 150 Ks. Very powerful rider, and has earned her stripes racing overseas.
Definitely, she's also won the Ride Joburg before, and a very, very strong climber.
Well, Scarborough Misty Cliffs comes into sight for these riders in a bit of the shadow at the moment. The sun hasn't risen above the mountains, but this is a truly beautiful part of the most remote part of the ride, and this women's break, very committed and a big one.
It is a big one. This is a very fast section as well. You have to have your wits about you and stay on it. You can't lose concentration here. But again, all the main key players are there. Chenolo looks like they have a good representation up there, as well as Cycle Nation.
Under 17s, I think.
Yes, and we have Tristan McGiven in there, as you mentioned
McGiven,
earlier. Very strong mountain biker.
They started just ahead of the elite women. So yeah, just having that opportunity to race their own race. Obviously the women and the under 17, special.
It really is, and I mean, it's a lot of different tactics going on when you race your own race versus riding in a big bunch.
4 of them in this under 17, and yeah, they're still going absolutely flat out as they would. Now we're back with our women's race. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, probably 14 riders in there. And all the main protagonists in here, the teams and the solo riders. Really good to see. Kate Courtney in that distinctive helmet. Second wheel, wonderful to have the marathon mountain bike world champion and former cross-country world champion here.
That looks like Lucy Young also in there, and also continental time trial champion, second place as SA Champs very recently. A rider that can definitely hold her own when she gets a gap.
Otto here at the back. come on, just a little glance to see the view. It is special.
47 kilometers already in, so just past halfway.
Halfway, yeah. And yeah, that's a big bunch, and all in, that's for sure. So the race is certainly taken a decisive move in the women's elite race, over 78 kilometers through Misty Cliffs, and this bunch of high quality races are going to deliver something special. It looks like there might be a ride, there might be the under 17 a little bit behind them there. Very, very special.
Yes, Gerald, this is definitely the move of the day for the ladies. I mean, if you're not in the split, you know, the chances of seeing them again is very slim.
And I think this just shows you that everyone in this original breakaway that's going now, they are here to race, and they're here to make the racing aggressive. And the pace going up Smithswinkel to have such a select group already on the front must have been so fast.
Chinola look as though they've got a few riders in here. Enza, I think they've got two. There's Hayley Preen, the Continental. She's got South African champions, ex-champion on her arm, but the Continental stripes around her chest, and that's Tyler Jacobs on her wheel.
Hayley Preen also has won almost every single race except for the Cape Town Cycle Tour, and she would love to add that to her resume. She said yesterday on her Instagram her favorite race of the year, and she definitely wants to add this to her tally of wins.
Yeah, she's been a bridesmaid on so many occasions in a lot of the big races, but she's also won a lot of the big races, so this is one that's eluded her, and she's a Hart Bay local, so she'll be riding through her hometown very shortly. Vera Lossa in this group here, another hugely pedigreed rider and a real danger in this field. Vera has won Ride Joburg in her time. She's won pretty much every Epic Series event on the mountain bike, marathon mountain bike World Series winner. So she knows exactly what it takes to win a race like this. While our men on the right-hand side continue to put time into the group is Dan Loebscher. He spends so much time on the front of this group. Dan Apples behind him likewise. Then the team riders, RH77, ASAP, Fly Cool, and Team Honeycomb. Kayla Surtees on the front there, the dark, as Preen now goes to the front. Trying to string it out here. Can they maybe start shedding a few of these riders?
I don't think at the moment. At the moment, they're just trying to get some cohesion between all of those women to work together to try and get the gap as big as possible, but also make sure that everyone has their turn on the front, that no one sits behind, saving energy while you're off working at the front.
Keep looking over their shoulders here. Bone at the back here. Vera Lossa just ahead of her.
It's Tiffany Keep right.
Oh, Tiffany, beg your pardon. Yes, Tiffany, yes.
Tyler Jacobs just off to the side. Vera Lossa in front of Tiffany. Michaela Surtees. So two teams that I've noticed that missed out on this is Reach for Rainbows and Customized Cycling. So 11 riders in that
11,
break.
yeah. Well, quality break it is for the women's race at the moment.
And a good ride for Michaela Surtees to find herself with these riders.
Riders on the left-hand side, they're not a reflection of those in the break at the moment.
Looks like Tennille Otto that's just got a little bit of a gap here.
Little rise. No, there's not too panic behind.
And Shinola definitely have the numbers in here. I think they've got 3 riders in this break. So they have different cards to play.